got her lying on the floor in the kitchen, and it looks to me as if she's been hit over the head. She looks as if she's dead. This is a murder.
In January 2008, the murder of Georgina Edmonds left people horrified. A 77-year-old woman bludgeoned to death in her own home.
My mother was very friendly, bubbly, happy person, very gentle. I always thought of her as safe in her little cottage by the river.
Georgina Edmonds lived in Fig Tree Cottage on the grounds of her son's Brambridge estate. One evening, Harry Edmonds found his mother face down on the kitchen floor, surrounded by a pool of blood.
I heard on the telephone from my brother what had happened, and a bit surreal, really. I couldn't really imagine it happening to Mummy.
It was immediately obvious as soon as you went into the cottage that this was a horrendous incident and quite a savage murder. It's exceptionally rare. It's the only sort of case like this that I've dealt with in my 28 years.
Martin Chudley, the original crime scene manager, began trying to retrace the murderer's steps.
The offender must have come from the cottage and down this towpath immediately after the murder.
Hampshire police carried out a long and high-profile investigation with repeated appeals for the public's help.
We're focusing this on sort of Eastleigh and Boyett Wood because it's believed.
But 2 years on from the murder, police still had little to go on and no one had been charged. There was this CCTV of a man attempting to use Georgina Edmonds' debit card on the night she was killed. And most significantly, DNA found on the murder weapon, a marble rolling pin. So police began to take DNA samples from nearly 2,000 men in the Eastleigh area. A partial DNA match with one local man was found. That man was Matthew Hamlen. He was arrested and tried for murder. He would always maintain he couldn't remember where he was on Friday the 11th of January 2008.
Were you there?
I can't remember if I was there.
Have you committed a burglary at Fig Tree Cottage?
I can say about burglary in general, I don't think I have.
But analysis of his mobile phone meant police were able to place him in the area of Fig Tree Cottage at the time Georgina Edmonds was killed. Hamlen was arrested and charged with murder. The court case lasted 2 months. Hamlen denied the charge throughout. Unconvinced by the police evidence, the jury found him not guilty. And in 2012, Matthew Hamlen walked free. It looked like the end of the road. But Hampshire police didn't want to shelve the case of Georgina Edmonds' murder.
I knew if we did that, it would be a number of years till we opened it up again. So I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't one last glimmer of hope that we could look at before it went away.
Detective Martin Chudley convinced scientists to carry out more work.
Even when the forensic providers were saying, look, it's really, really unlikely that we're going to find DNA on those samples, he was persistent, and we managed to find more money in terms of further testing, and it was that persistence that paid off.
The breakthrough police were hoping for finally came. Fibres from the back of the left sleeve of Georgina Edmonds' blouse were analysed, an area which had been thought unlikely to reveal much first time around. And scientists found a match with Matthew Hamlen's DNA, a much stronger one than before.
My first phone call was to the SIO, and he had to sit down, I think. And that was really the same reaction of quite a few, that they just couldn't quite believe it, and what does this mean? What can we do?
Police took this to the Court of Appeal, saying the new evidence was strong enough to challenge Matthew Hamlen's acquittal under the rule of double jeopardy. The judges agreed, which meant Matthew Hamlen could be put on trial once again. Over the past 6 weeks, witnesses from the original trial, along with police and forensic experts, have come back to this court 4 years on. But this time with a compelling piece of new evidence. The jury was told it is 26 million times more likely that the DNA found on Georgina Edmonds' blouse comes from Matthew Hamlen than from someone unrelated to him. The prosecution called Matthew Hamlen devious and manipulative. They said he had drug debts and that there could be no innocent explanation for his DNA being found on the murder weapon and on Georgina Edmonds' blouse. The jury was convinced. This time Hamlen would not walk free. Today, he's been found guilty of murder.
It's been a long wait. Mummy got murdered and someone's going to jail forever, and it's not a very happy event, but I think it will bring some sort of closure, some sort of justice for my mother, which is the very least she deserves.
And that special report from our Home Affairs correspondent Emma Vardy.